Tonight on Y News, the Supreme Court lifts a temporary restraining order on the Sandigan Bayan's trial over the bloody Mamasapano encounter, where former President Benigno Aquino III is facing criminal charges. The Provincial Health Office of Bulacan orders misting operations to eradicate mosquitoes and its breeding grounds as the country declares a national dengue epidemic. Relatives of the victims in the Iloilo-Guimaras Strait tragedy cry out for justice. Water levels at Angat and La Mesa dams increase following rains brought about by the effects of southwest monsoon and tropical depressions in the past few days. And the creator of online messaging board, S. Chan, hopes to destroy the Frankenstein creation after the U.S. mass shootings. Good evening. The Supreme Court has given the go signal for Sandigan Bayan to resume the trial of cases filed against former President Benigno Aquino III in relation to the bloody Mamasapano incident. May Bermudez will tell us why.
The cases against the former president have been pending before the anti-graft court since February last year. This after the SC issued a temporary restraining order on graft and usurpation of authority cases versus Aquino, former PNP Chief Alan Purisima, and retired PNP Special Action Force Commander Getulio Napeñas. This was even before the three were arraigned before the court. Supreme Court spokesperson Attorney Brian Keith Hosaka confirms the court lifted the TRO during their en banc session yesterday. This means Sandigan Bayan may continue trial and act on pending matters filed before it. Ombudsman Samuel Martira said the usurpation of authority charges are inappropriate for the former president. The graft and usurpation of authority charges against Aquino stemmed from the failed police operation in Mamasapano, Maguindanao on January 25, 2015, which resulted to the death of 44 members of the PNP Special Action Force. The parties, however, refused to comment on the issue until they receive a copy of the resolution.
Really cannot comment until I see the official copy. Mahirap na eh. Ako-off tangent yung comment ko.
Malacanang, meanwhile, distances itself from the decision of the Supreme Court. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo refused to comment on the Supreme Court's action, which he said belongs to a separate and independent branch of the government. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Provincial Health Office of Bulacan orders barangays to conduct misting operations. This as the number of dengue cases in the province increased in the past month. Vincent Arboleda explains why.
69 barangays in the 16 municipalities of Bulacan are now affected by dengue. The highest numbers of suspected dengue cases have been recorded in the municipalities of San Miguel, San Jose del Monte, Santa Maria, Norzagaray, and Bustos. To eliminate mosquitoes that carry the dengue virus, barangays have been ordered to conduct misting operations.
Search and destroy of breeding sites, hanapin, suyurin at sirain po ang mga maaaring pamugaran at pangitlugan ng lamok sa inyo pong mga tahanan sa labas man o sa loob.
The Provincial Health Office has also ordered public hospitals to establish express lanes for dengue patients. Health officials reiterate their advice to maintain the cleanliness of the surroundings and remove stagnant water that may become breeding places of mosquitoes. Based on data from the Bulacan Provincial Epidemiology Surveillance Unit, there are more than 3,000 suspected dengue cases recorded in the province from January to July. 8 of those patients died. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Philippine National Police General Hospital gears up for possible dengue cases on policemen and their dependents. PNP spokesperson Bernard Banac says the police force are also ready to donate blood if needed. Leah Ilagan will tell us why.
The day after the declaration of national dengue epidemic in the country, PNP spokesperson, Police Brigadier General Bernard Banac said That PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde has ordered the preparations of the PNP General Hospitals across the country.
Ang lahat ng mga police regional offices nationwide ay inaatasan din na tingnan ang lahat ng kalusugan ng ating mga PNP personnel, maging ang kanilang pamilya upang hindi magkasakit at hindi maapektuhan ang kanilang trabaho.
Banac adds they have enough medicines and blood in the blood bank to address the needs of police officers and their dependents if they suffer from dengue. The police force are also ready to donate blood as the need arises.
At maging ang lahat ng ating PNP personnel ay nakahanda rin na tumugon sa panawagan ng blood donation.
Banac adds the PNP enjoins with the health department on the 4 o'clock cleaning habit.
Maging yung fumigation, isinasagawa na rin ng ating health service. Sa lahat ng kampo, lahat ng ating mga facilities, camps nationwide.
General Banac is also thankful no policeman is infected by the dengue virus as of today.
So sa ngayon ay salamat sa Diyos, wala pa namang naiulat na pulis natin na nagkasakit ng dengue sa panahong ito.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The government extends help to the survivors and the families of those who perished in the tragedy at the Iloilo Strait. Meanwhile, the families of the fatalities call for justice for what happened to their loved ones. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
Days after the sea tragedy, the relatives of those who'd lost their lives after 3 boats capsized at the Iloilo Strait still cannot believe that their loved ones are gone. 56-year-old Nena Gardose was one of those who died that day when their boat met huge waves at sea. And now, all her son wants is justice.
Madulaan ko may girikanan. Pag matagaan lang hustisya, ma'am, ang pagkamatay ni nanay, ma'am. Ang hustisya, ma'am, nga nagpabaya ang ma'am, ang Philippine Coast Guard nato dire sa Iloilo, Caguimaras, ma'am.
While Cecilia Fennis is in pain that her only child, Raysil, could not return home anymore after that fateful trip. On the other hand, Ryan Tumagos and Anastasia Tumagos III, who survived the accident, are thankful for being given a second chance to life.
Naglumpat na lang ako sa tubig kag naglangoy para makagwa sa bambot.
While Brent Kian woke his father Richie up after he passed out. Trapped under the boat, they tried hard to get air and breathe to stay alive.
Doon nalipungan ko, tapos dumdumaan ko tanan-tanan nga doon nag-umpawang ko luwat, kaya nang paminsar ko siya mo. Matempa ko taniya magsalom sa dalom, nagdesider ko na bantay na lang hangin sa dalom eh. Muna nakasurvive dati.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, for their part, will extend help to the survivors and burial assistance to the family of those who perished. They also commit to give livelihood assistance to all pump boat crews affected by the suspension of pump boat trips. The Philippine Coast Guard have canceled all the pump boat trips since Saturday up to the present, while retrieval operations are still ongoing for the 3 missing boat passengers. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
Some members of the House of Representatives want to investigate the Iloilo Strait mishap. Here's why from Grace Casin.
Nais po na yung malaman kung who is to blame for this.
Members of the minority in the lower house want to know whom to blame for the tragedy that happened in Iloilo Strait. Some of the lawmakers even share their own experiences. ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro said riding a motorbangka is not safe.
So ako mismo, nung sumakay ako dito sa mga bangka na ito, sa mga ay talagang walang life vest.
While for Iloilo Representative Janet Guerin, the tarpaulins used as a roof for the motorbangkas is also unsafe.
Pagka tumaob po yun, yung trapal na yun becomes very heavy, hinatratrap ang mga nasa ilalim ng trapal. Now kung meron kang life vest, at hindi mo agad-agad matanggal yon, mahihirapan kang sumisid pa ilalim at lumabas sa trapal na yun.
The Solons also asked the government to consider building a bridge that will connect Iloilo and Guimaras. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
How are life vests important? What are alternatives to life vests that may be used when stuck at sea? Find those out as Harleen Delgado reports.
28 passengers lost their lives after 3 motorbankers capsized at the Iloilo Strait last Saturday. The Philippine Coast Guard say one of the angles to look into is the alleged non-wearing of life vests by some of the passengers. How important is wearing a life jacket? And what alternatives can you look for when stuck at sea? According to trained rescuer Ronald Cabizares, one must wear a life vest properly before boarding a sea craft.
Dapat, bago ka sumakay sa bangka or habang nakasakay ka, suot-suot mo siya. Kasi in an event na mawala ka sa bangka or mahulog, dapat nakasuot sa iyo yung PNP.
There are 2 kinds of life vests, inflatable and padded vest. The padded vest has 5 types. Types 1 and 2 are used for offshore or near water activities such as fishing or cruising. These types are mostly bulky and uncomfortable due to huge foams, but they are the most buoyant. However, because the usual material used is styrofoam, it is much prone to degradation when soaked in water for a long time. Type 3 is used in water activities such as kayaking and wakeboarding. It is less bulky compared with the first 2 types, making it comfortable for the passenger to move while in water. It also uses closed-cell foam and nylon fabric, which make it stronger against degradation. The Type 4 is the throwable, which is thrown to victims, such as life ring, rescue tube, or throw bag. The last type is called the special type, used by trained rescuers.
Yung isang tao na may suot ng Type 5 o yung Rescue Life Vest o Rescue PFD, kahit mag-grab siya ng kanyang nire-rescue, no, kaya pa rin silang ilutang yan. So ganun kataas yung buoyancy rate niya.
To properly wear a life vest, first, loosen all the straps of the vest before wearing. Start tightening the straps at the bottom first before going off.
Pag nagkaroon na ng chance na nasa tubig kayo, aangat yung inyong life vest. Kasi magkokontra siya sa buoyancy ng tubig eh. No? So kung dito tayo nagigpit, so ang tendency, pag angat niyan, masasakal kayo ng life vest.
To check if the vest fits right, put 2 fingers in between the straps and your body. In the event of capsizing and there are no life vests available, try to look for things that can float, such as water pail or container. You can also use plastic by placing it in a bag to inflate. You can wear the inflated bag or simply hold on to it. Your wet clothes can also be used. Tie the ends of your shirt and pants and inflate them. But Cabizados adds, the most effective protection is preparedness. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The water level in Angat Dam slowly increases due to frequent rains. But it's still not enough to allocate water for irrigation. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
As of 6 a.m. today, the water in Angat Dam reached a height of 169.63 meters. But with this level not reaching the minimum operating level of 180 meters, it cannot allocate water yet to irrigate rice fields.
In case lang, worst comes to worst, meron lang kami mga naka-standby na mga malilit na bomba para ipamigay sa mga farmers na nangangailangan ng tubig.
As the wet season in the country began in June, around 700,000 hectares of rice farms have already been planted. This includes around 70% or 18,000 hectares of rice fields that depend on water from Angat Dam. Even the water in the Mesa Dam has increased to 75.73 meters as of 6 a.m. today, although this is still below its normal level of 78 to 79 meters above sea level. La Mesa Dam is one of the sources of Manila Water, who serves the east zone of Metro Manila. The water concessionaire said they can already provide round-the-clock water supply to almost all of their customers. Maynila, on the other hand, can already serve 91% of their customers without water interruption. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Angelo Castro III left off. I'm Alex Baltazar, and here are the headlines. Senators express alarm over reported massive recruitment of students by leftist groups. Most Filipinos say they would like to see the automated election system to continue in the future, according to the latest Pulse Asia survey. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority plans to place fences along EDSA to curb lane switching among motorists. Find out what the major government road projects are designed to ease traffic congestion in Metro Manila. And Wish 1075 kicks off Mindanao leg of the on-ground auditions for Wishcovery Originals. Good evening. Some senators are worried over the reported leftist group's massive recruitment of minors. Meanwhile, the Armed Forces of the Philippines advises parents to watch out for indications their children are being recruited by leftist groups. Nel Maribuhok details why.
The parents who attended today's Senate hearing got emotional as they narrated how they lost communication with their daughters after the reported recruitment of leftist groups. Luisina Espina narrated how she observed the sudden change in the behavior of her 17-year-old daughter who studies in the Polytechnic University of the Philippines.
Magmula po nung napasok siya dyan sa anak bayan na yan, nagulo ang utak niya, masyadong magalitin, laging political ang pag dinidibati mo siya sa political, galit agad siya, kaya hindi po kami nanonood na ng news.
Even Gemma Labsan shared her 16-year-old daughter who ran away from home. They have seen the contents of her cell phone.
And then kinuha po ng papa niya yung cellphone niya. And then may nakita po doon files, may mga nakalagay po doon na mga armadong pakikibaka, komunismo po. And then nagalit na po kami. And then nakita ko po doon sa libro niya, meron po siyang libro doon na nakalagay po, Struggle of Democracy by Joma Sison.
Other parents have the same stories about their children who have allegedly been recruited by leftist groups.
Sabi niya sa akin, full-time na nga daw siya sa anak bayan. Tapos nung nalaman niya na nagsumbong ako sa PNP at saka sa school, ang sabi niya po sa akin, kalaban na daw po ako. Isipin ko daw wala na akong anak.
According to the PUP management, they are implementing measures to prevent this kind of recruitment.
Karaniwan po ina-assert halimbawa ng faculty o kaya ng ilang mga estudyante, yung mga aktivista na rin na mayroon silang academic freedom.
Chief General Oscar Albayade says the availability of some school teachers should also be looked into as there have been reports students are required to join protest rallies. The Armed Forces of the Philippines have tips to parents on how to determine their children are being recruited by the leftist groups.
Marami na silang alibay, sir. Marami silang paalam, pupunta kung saan, may trip, may field trip doon. Sometimes, and often, these are not sanctioned by schools. And then orgs, yan. Yung organization namin, merong pupuntahan dito sa communities na ito. Doon yun, sir. Ito na yung indicators na nag-i-immerse na sila. And it is in this immersion that they really meet the armed NPAs.
Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa is hoping that the criminal case the PNP CIDG have filed will pursue as this case is alarming, he said.
Alarming in the sense na mga minor de edad ito na dapat nag-aaral, bakit nandun sa kalsada, nabibrainwash, pinupuison ang utak nitong mga makakaliwa para lumaban sa gobyerno.
Senator De La Rosa's committee will give chance to the reported recruiters like Anakbayan and Kabataan groups to explain the issues during the next hearing in Senate. Based on the data from the AFP from 1999 to 2019, over 500 students below 18 years old have been recruited by the NPA. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Most Filipinos would still choose to use the automated election system, or AES, for the conduct of the coming elections in the country. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
Based on the survey of Pulse Asia last June, 9 out of 10 still trust the automated election system being used in the polls in the Philippines. This translates to 91% of the 1,200 respondents of the survey. They believe through the AES, the voting process and the election results are made easier.
And they feel that faster results make the elections more credible. And then it's also easier compared to, let's say, how we used to vote, where you have to write the surname of the candidate.
On the other hand, according to an election watchdog, it is clear that vote buying has been widespread because the AES is fraud-free.
Vote buying became more rampant after we automated our elections because candidates, politicians did not know how to cheat the machines. Hindi nila ma-bribe yung makines.
Attorney Caritos of Lente further explains that most Filipinos saw less cheating with the AES.
What they did for the past 3 automated elections, they went straight to our voters, they went straight to the organizers or yung mga operators in the barangays and the villages. So it's very interesting, it's very revealing for people to say that they did not see any cheating or vote buying in their localities.
For the Commission on Elections, they still believe that President Rodrigo Duterte still prefers automated polls, although he has stated Smartmatic should not be used again. As a proof of the President's trust, the Chief Executive mentioned in his recent State of the Nation address or SONA that he is contented with the election results last May. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority plans to put up more fences on EDSA. Grace Casan explains why.
Switching of lanes among motorists is one of the causes of the monster traffic on EDSA. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA cites that city bus drivers do not follow the policy on bus lanes.
Yung mga pasaway natin city bus, nandun na sa private lane, yung first three lanes. So, nung naglitawan yung mga enforcers natin, nakita nila, nagpasukan sila bumalik. Nung bumalik sila, puno na, hinarangan nila yung mga kalsada. No?
Because of such problem, the MMDA plans to lay out fences on EDSA before the year ends.
The whole EDSA stretch will put a fence. Ang opening lang yan, loading and unloading base, intersection, and establishment with minimum of 3 meters easement. Pag wala, isasara natin yan.
But MMDA emphasizes that manning provincial buses on EDSA will help ease the terrible traffic. Today, the MMDA conducted a voluntary dry run for the provincial bus ban. But MMDA Traffic Chief Edison Bong Nebria was dismayed because only few operators joined the dry run. Nebria will submit a report to MMDA Chairman Danny Lim for them to decide whether to further push through with a dry run or not. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The Department of Public Works and Highways is still confident the 5-minute travel time from Cubao to Makati City is doable. This 4 months before the target accomplishment of President Rodrigo Duterte's challenge. Rosalie Cos explains why.
The Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH reveals a master plan has been laid out to meet the President's 5-minute travel from Cubao to Makati challenge. Part of the plan is the target completion of some infrastructure projects in Metro Manila to decongest EDSA.
There is no singular strategy for this program. Pero ayoko kasing ma-preempt yung formal announcement for this project. I hope we can wait for the formal announcement for how this will be done.
President Duterte himself was the one who revealed in June there will be major improvements in the traffic situation on EDSA before the year ends. Public Works and Highways Secretary Mark Villar said once the major infrastructure projects get finished by the end of the year, 250 to 300,000 vehicles will decongest EDSA every day. Some of these projects are the Metro Manila Skyway Project, North Luzon Expressway Harbor Link Connector, C5 South Link, bridges around EDSA and others. Aside from this are the pending railway projects of the Department of Transportation.
The road should be seen with the railway development in Metro Manila area.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Battling with horrendous traffic has been a part of the daily struggles of motorists and commuters in Metro Manila. Let's find out what government projects are in place to ease terrible traffic as Joan Nano reports.
For some, there seems to be no more solution to the heavy traffic that has been a norm. But the Department of Public Works and Highways has ongoing construction of elevated expressways as a long-term solution to divert some vehicles traversing EDSA and other major thoroughfares. These include the NLEX Harbor Link, Metro Manila Skyway Stage 3 project, NLEX SLEX Connector, and C5 South Link Expressway. The NLEX Harbor Link Segment 10 is a 5.65-kilometer elevated expressway stretching from MacArthur Highway in Carohatan, Valenzuela City, traversing Malabon City and C3 Road in Caloocan City. The DPWH estimates that around 30,000 motorists will benefit every day with the opening of this road project, which is expected to cut the more than 1-hour trip from Caloocan to NLEX down to only 10 minutes. There's also the NLEX SLEX Road Connector. This is a 4-lane elevated expressway from C3 Road in Caloocan City to PUP in Santa Mesa, Manila. The private-public partnership project cost around 23.3 billion pesos, and the target completion is on the fourth quarter of 2020. Once operational, the current more than 2-hour travel time will be reduced to only 20 minutes. Another is the Skyway Stage 3. With this, travel time from South Luzon Expressway from Alabang Muntinlupa going to EDSA Balintawak in Quezon City will become faster. The 37.43 billion peso project is expected to be finished in 2021. Last July 22, the Plaza Dilao exit ramp of the Skyway was open to motorists. Around 100,000 vehicles is expected to ply the road once it becomes operational. Another project under the Build program is the C5 Southlink Expressway. The DPWH has recently opened a portion of this, but the entire project is expected to be completed by 2021. The C5 Southlink Expressway will connect C5 Road and the Cavite Expressway. Around 45,000 vehicles every day may use this road. It is seen to reduce travel time from more than an hour to just 5 minutes, according to its contractor Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation. According to Build Committee Chairperson Hanna Lamentillo, as of now, the DPWH has blacklisted 18 contractors due to delayed construction of some projects.
Marami na pong nabigyan ng warning, penalty na po yung blacklisting. They are not allowed to do a project for a period of 1 year. Yung iba po mas mahaba depending on the violation.
Despite this, the department assures that all road projects will be finished based on the deadline set by the government.
All major infrastructure is on track. Nakatutok po talaga si Secretary Villar. In fact, we do weekly monitoring and meetings with key groups for our big ticket infrastructure projects. So we expect all these projects to come fruition within their specified timeline.
It can be recalled that President Rodrigo Duterte has warned DPWH Secretary Mark Villar that he will hold him responsible over delayed and failed projects.
Yang project mo, pagka pumalpak, I will hold the secretary responsible.
Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Caloocan City.
The National Weather Bureau, Pag-asa, said severe tropical storm Hanna has intensified into a typhoon. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration said Typhoon Hanna was last spotted 690 kilometers east of Basco, Batanes. It has maximum sustained winds of 140 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 170 kilometers per hour. Hanna remains less likely to make landfall on any part of the country. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 remains raised over Batanes and the Babuyan group of islands, which means residents of those areas should be ready for winds of 30 to 60 kilometers per hour and intermittent rains in the next 36 hours. Although the typhoon is not expected to make landfall, Pag-asa said moderate to heavy monsoon rains can be expected northern portions of Palawan, Occidental and Oriental Mindoro, Romblon, Zambales, Bataan, Aklan, and Antique. Metro Manila, the rest of Luzon, Central Visayas, and the Western Visayas can expect cloudy skies and scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. Pag-asa is also keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Grossa and a low-pressure area west of Dagupan City, Pangasinan, but neither are expected to affect weather in the country. Blade sharpening service, taho and binatog venting. Do these ring a bell? These trades seem to be less and less seen in the streets. Let's find out other fading Filipino trades as Mon Hocson reports.
In this Facebook post by Vladimir Agkawili Nieto, it looks like Ben is the one left offering blade sharpening service. At 75, Ben endures the scorching heat of the sun just to find customers. You don't need to go downtown to find a shop that offers sharpening service because Ben will ride his bike to get to your doorstep. Butterfly knife making is also a fading trade. In a Facebook post by Pablo Beltran, he said that he is lucky to have seen an actual butterfly knife making. Before, butterfly knife is the theme in Filipino movies. Now, even the youth are not interested in learning the art of such craft. Today, you will rarely see popcorn vendors in the street. What about a cow with a carriage on its back filled with lots and lots of stuff to sell? Every morning, we surely miss the shout of a taho vendor outside our houses. Though, there are still who sell it in the streets, but they are not that frequent unlike the good old days. The ring of the bell of binatog or boiled corn grains vendor can be rarely heard in the streets too. Possibly, there are people who will forget these fading trades, but until there are people who patronize their services and products, they will surely remain as part of our everyday lives until the years to come. Mon Hocson, UNTV, News and Rescue.
The Mindanao leg of the Wishcovery Season 3 on-ground auditions kicks off in Cagayan de Oro City. For the auditionees, it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to perform on the Wish 1075 bus. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
The Wishcovery Season 3 on-ground auditions are now in Cagayan de Oro City. Auditionees from all over the city of Golden Friendship and neighboring provinces arrive for a chance to perform on the iconic Wish Bus. They share that showcasing their talents through Wishcovery originals can be a door for huge opportunities for them.
Pwede ma-discover ako dito.
Also, music lovers who hope to see the Wish Bus in person grab the chance to take selfies with the FM station on wheels. Even the Cagayan de Oro City Tourism Office showed their support to the event.
It's about, coming over here and getting in touch with the people, the experience, the city, and at the same time, you're able to harness or to get people, the local, showcase their talent.
Wishcovery Originals on-ground auditions in Cagayan de Oro will run until tomorrow, August 8. Registration time is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for auditionees. The Wishcovery team will next head to Butuan City on August 11 to 13 and in Davao City on the 19th to the 21st to complete the auditions Mindanao leg. Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Welcome back to Y News. The creator of online messaging board Shan said he had created a Frankenstein monster after realizing the forum has links to hate-driven killings in the United States and New Zealand. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
Frederick Brennan, who started 8chan in 2013 as a means of free speech, has been calling for its shutdown. Brennan, 25, who lives in the Philippines, said the freewheeling web board he created had become a hive of white supremacy, anonymous hate, and neo-Nazism since he sold it to a fellow American and said he felt a sense of guilt sometimes. On Tuesday, 8chan was inaccessible.
8chan has been just a total negative in the world. And,
I was very naive and ignorant when I made it.
U.S. cybersecurity firm Cloudflare has terminated 8chan as a customer after a gunman whom authorities believe had posted on 8chan about a Hispanic invasion killed 22 people on Saturday at a Walmart store in El Paso, Texas.
I never really imagined that this would happen, that shooters would post their manifestos on 8chan. And I put some of the blame on the way that they're administering it.
The site was also used by a shooter who in March attacked 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, killing 51 people and providing inspiration for a shooting a month later of a man at a synagogue in Poway, California. Brennan, who has a condition known as brittle bone disease and uses a wheelchair, agreed to media interviews because he had hoped to stop 8chan. However, he said the El Paso shooting was the turning point rather than the deadlier New Zealand attack.
You know, I've spent the last few days going from camera to camera trying to destroy the monster, and it seems like, I don't know if I'm making any progress. It seems like I might be.
Philippine National Police Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde has ordered the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group on Monday to conduct an investigation on 8chan. The American software developer said he is willing to cooperate with authorities. Brennan, who left the portal's management to its current operator Jim Watkins in 2016, admitted it was difficult to moderate postings in the website, but it could have done better with stricter moderation from the administrators. Watkins is also based in the Philippines, but attempts to reach him is without success.
If I could go back and not create 8chan at all, I probably would.
Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
And for the news abroad, the Ohio shooting suspect explored violent ideologies according to the FBI. Judith Ann Fuente explains why.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation said the suspected gunman in Dayton, Ohio weekend shooting that killed 9 people was exploring violent ideologies. However, FBI agent Todd Wickerham said it was unclear whether that influenced Connor Bett's actions.
We have not made any final investigative conclusions into the motive of the shooter or if he was assisted by any other people in this attack. However, we have uncovered evidence throughout the course of our investigation that the shooter was exploring violent ideologies.
The FBI, along with the Dayton police, are investigating the incident. Wickerham said authorities were working to determine whether the attacker was influenced by a particular ideology and whether he was helped by anyone.
We have not found that anything that indicates that it's a racial motivation at this time. Again, we have a lot to go through.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine on Tuesday proposed a red flag law that would take guns away from people who may harm themselves or others. Meanwhile, the parents of the suspect asked for privacy for themselves and their neighbors. The Bellbrook Police Department in Ohio presented a statement from the family stating that the Betts family is shocked and devastated by the events of Sunday morning in the Oregon District. They offer their most heartfelt prayers and condolences to all of the victims, their families, and friends.
The Betts family is cooperating with law enforcement in their investigation into this tragedy. They respect the investigative process being conducted by the Dayton Police Department and the FBI and will not comment further on this investigation.
Authorities have said that Betts was known to have been a troubled youth in high school, at one point drawing up a hit list of students he wanted to kill or otherwise harm. Judith Ann Fuente, UNTV News and Rescue.
Meanwhile, U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper said on Tuesday that the United States will not overreact to a series of missile launches by North Korea in recent weeks and would keep the door open to talks with Pyongyang. North Korea fired missiles into the sea off its east coast for the 4th time in less than 2 weeks. The South Korean military said on Tuesday, as Pyongyang protested, that joint U.S.-South Korea military drills violated the diplomatic agreements.
The key is to keep the door open for diplomacy. We're not going to overreact to these, but we monitor them, we watch them closely, and we're cognizant of what's happening.
He added that the missiles launched on Tuesday were short-range ballistic ones, and he would be speaking about North Korea with his counterparts in Japan and South Korea during his upcoming visit to both countries. Pakistan said on Tuesday it was considering further diplomatic and military pressure on India after the Hindu-majority nation stripped its portion of contested Kashmir of special status. On Monday, India dropped a constitutional provision for the state of Jammu and Kashmir, which has long been a flashpoint in ties with neighboring Pakistan to make its own laws. Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan said India's removal of special status for Kashmir, which included prohibiting outsiders from owning property, was an attempt to alter the demographics of the region and was illegal under international law. India maintains its actions in Kashmir are both legal under domestic and international law. China warned Hong Kong's pro-democracy protesters on Tuesday that those who play with fire will perish by it, a day after the most widespread unrest in the two-month crisis. Ferdy Petalio reports why.
In its harshest warning yet, Beijing said the immense strength of the central government should not be underestimated, while police in the semi-autonomous city announced they had arrested almost 150 people in connection with Monday's violence. The global financial center has been plunged into chaos by weeks of protest, triggered by opposition to a planned law that would have allowed extraditions to mainland China. The protests have since evolved into a wider movement for democratic reform and the protection of freedoms. At a press briefing in Beijing, Yang Guang, spokesman for the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office of the State Council, said the radical protests have severely impacted Hong Kong's prosperity and stability, pushing it into a dangerous abyss. Yang said the government still firmly supports both the Hong Kong police force, who had been criticized for their handling of the protest, and Carrie Lam, the city's pro-Beijing leader, who protesters want to resign.
I must warn all criminals not to misjudge the situation and mistake a restraint for weakness. They must not underestimate the just power of Hong Kong society to safeguard the stability of the legal system. They must not underestimate the firm determination and tremendous strength of the central government and the people of the whole country to safeguard Hong Kong's prosperity and stability and safeguard the fundamental interests of the country.
In the latest clashes, on Tuesday night, police fired tear gas at protesters and residents who had gathered outside a police station in the neighborhood of Sam Shui Po after the arrest of a student. Police told reporters the student was arrested for possession of offensive weapons after officers found him carrying 10 18 centimeters long laser pointers in a plastic bag. Student union said the police were fabricating a charge and accused the Carrie Lam regime and its lackeys of attempting to silence the opposing voices. Police said 148 people were arrested during running battles with protesters on Monday as the city buckled under a general strike, followed by clashes at more than a dozen locations in the former British colony. Police stations were a particular target, with protesters hurling stones, eggs and bottles and using giant improvised slingshots to catapult bricks over walls. An apartment complex that houses police officers and their families also came under attack. Ferdy Petalio, UNTV News and Rescue, Hong Kong.
After a scorching summer heat wave in 2018, planners of the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics are implementing measures to protect athletes, staff, and spectators at outdoor events from extreme temperatures during the 2020 Games. Amiel Pascual will tell us why.
Tokyo residents and tourists expressed their concern for Olympic athletes and volunteers participating in the 2020 Games on Monday, as temperatures hover at dangerous levels for days, killing at least 19 in the capital alone. A stark reminder of one of the biggest headaches for Olympic planners a year ahead of the Games. Tokyo 2020 Olympic organizers plan to emphasize helping everybody stay cool and hydrated, using things like mist sprays and providing cool shaded rest areas, as well as paving the marathon course and other major roads, with more than 100 kilometers of resin-based surface that reflects infrared rays and lowers the pavement temperature.
They will have it really hot, especially the ones who are nowhere near shade.
in this space. It's gonna be awful the standing here and can do nothing. They could maybe wish for a little bit of wind, but it ain't gonna help them much.
A beach volleyball event last week which saw temperatures of 35 degrees Celsius and 75% humidity on July 25 tried out mist sprays for fans arriving at the venue, shaded or air-conditioned rest areas, and distributing water and ice packs to athletes and fans. Upcoming test events are expected to provide more practice for these logistical preparations. Though the area around the Japanese capital has so far avoided a repeat of the record-breaking scorcher of 2018, when the temperature soared to 41 degrees Celsius just north of Tokyo. Highs have clung about 31 degrees Celsius since July 24, the day the Summer Games will kick off in Tokyo next year for the second time. Mel Pascual, UNTV News and Rescue.
A Japanese electronics manufacturer unveiled a prototype flying car that stayed in the air for almost a minute during a test in Japan this week. About the size of an auto rickshaw and equipped with 4 horizontal propellers, the drone-like prototype reached a height of 10 feet during the test in Chiba, east of Tokyo, on Monday. The flying car is designed for unmanned delivery flights. The Japanese government aims to start commercializing flying vehicles from around 2023, beginning with transportation of goods and expanding to moving people closer to 2030. A tram driver in Germany is gaining popularity in his town as he has his own special way to connect with young people. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
The hang loose sign with one hand, a big Arnold Schwarzenegger smile, and aviator glasses. You just can't miss tram driver Peter Worth. Known as the Band Babo, or in English, Tram Boss, he's a local institution in the western German city of Frankfurt. The city's coolest tram driver, who has been a hobby bodybuilder for 36 years, doesn't just show off his big muscles. He puts them to use. He gets out of the driver's seat and helps people with bags and luggage and walks through the car, chatting up passengers of all ages.
If you can be a role model here, then you are a role model in all kinds of situations.
The name Band Babo, with Babo being a slang word that you'd hear more often in German rap songs than in everyday conversations, was born out of an exchange with a young male passenger. Worth asked him to take his feet off the seat, and the name was given to him by the young man out of respect. Now 57 years old, Worth is attracted to politics and plans to run for Frankfurt mayor in 2024. He said he wants to address issues close to his heart, such as a lack of affordable housing, social programs for the youth, and of course, public transport. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Meanwhile, a resident living in Yantai City of East China's Shandong province was stunned by the sight of a mirage that towered across the skyline on early Monday morning. Seen from the 17th floor where Wei Ping lives, tall buildings and tower cranes appeared to rise up amid thick clouds. The patterns in the mirage are typically blurred and shimmering, with a resemblance to human-made structures. They are similar to a reflection seen in water. A mirage is a natural phenomenon in which light rays penetrating air layers of different densities are reflected to form an image of objects located far away. The miraculous scene lasted about 4 hours. And those are the reasons behind the news this August 7, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Sabi niya sa akin, full-time na nga daw siya sa anak bayan. Tapos nung nalaman niya na nagsumbong ako sa PNP at saka sa school, ang sabi niya po sa akin, kalaban na daw po ako. Isipin ko daw wala na akong anak.
Kinuha po ng papa niya yung cellphone niya and then may nakita po doon files, may mga nakalagay po doon na mga armadong pakikibaka, komunismo po. And then nagalit na po kami and then nakita ko po doon sa libro niya, meron po siyang libro doon na nakalagay po Struggle of Democracy by Choma Season.
Alarming in the sense na mga minor de edad ito na dapat nag-aaral, bakit nandun sa kalsada, nabibrainwash, pinupoison ang utak nitong mga makakaliwa para lumaban sa gobyerno.
They feel that faster results make the elections more credible. And then it's also easier compared to, let's say, how we used to vote, where you had to write the surname of the candidate.
The whole EDSA stretch will put the fence. Ang opening lang yan, loading and loading base, intersection, and establishment with minimum of 3 meters easement.
I've spent the last few days going from camera to camera trying to destroy the monster, and it seems like, I don't know if I'm making any progress. It seems like I might be.